Sorry, can you repeat, please?
You know that, right?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Let's stop here.
But I still didn't get the question, sorry.
Okay, got it. Nice technique.
You're talking about lifecycle methods? We can drink some, I don't know, we can just drink something.
Great answer.
Just to stop here, I cannot find the string. Thank you, Viktor, for your questions. Everything was really cool.
Hi everyone, my name's Chris Howard and I'm one of the Anywhere Club hosts here on the English speaking channel. It's a real privilege to have you joining us for another interview series. Today we're going to be talking all things JavaScript Frontend. For those of you that are new to the Anywhere Club, we're a global online community for IT professionals, helping with your career development, relocation, and even learning new languages. Today, we've got an amazing session lined up with both our interviewer and our interviewee on the topic of JavaScript Frontend. This is a mid-level role with 5+ years experience talking all things React and JavaScript. I'm really excited for what we've got lined up, and I think it's going to be an incredible session to get some hands-on insight into what a real-life interview scenario looks like. We'll be joined today by two speakers, Viktor Soroka and Aliaksei Deboi, and we'll be talking all things JS. So, without further ado, let's meet our candidates and our interviewer and find out more. Over to you.
Hi guys, happy to be here. I'm a front-end developer with over 9 years of experience. So I started small as a junior software engineer here in TPAM during our pre-production program. So happy to be at TPAM, really. And my primary focus is on front-end applications with React specifically. And also I act as a manager, as a resource manager and as talent manager and as skill advisor, as you see. So I think I will be capable of asking both technical and non-technical questions. So ready to start?
Amazing, and it's great to have you join us, Viktor. And of course, now over to our candidate, Aliaksei, to introduce himself.
Hello, Anywhere Club. My name is Aliaksei, and I am a front-end engineer. I have experience for about 4 years long, and I have started my career here at TPAM as a junior software engineer, and I'm very glad to be here as well. My primary stack of technology are JavaScript, React.js. Also, I worked a bit with clouds like AWS, and I know Java just a little bit. Thank you.
So there we have it. We've met both our interviewer and our interviewee. And all we have to do now is kick off that interview. So I'm going to disappear from the background and hand over for an amazing interview session on our JavaScript front end as part of the Anywhere interview series. Over to you.
How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, thank you. Just a little bit nervous, you know, just this common interview. It can be nervous, actually.
Yeah, it's fine, but we're gonna have just like discussions, so I think you're gonna do great. I just want to introduce you the position. It's gonna be for front-end developer role for JavaScript engineer with focus on React. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds really great.
Just before we start, can you tell us a bit about your experience overall?
Yes, sure. So I have started my career as EPAM, as a junior software engineer. So my primary stack was Angular. Like in the very beginning of that, I used Angular JS on my first project, and then we did kind of a migration from Angular JS to a React application. And after that, I primarily use React in my applications. So right now, I'm working on the project as a key developer. I'm working with React. I'm working with Azure clouds, and also we have just a little bit of Node.
Yeah, sounds great. And just common question, but I really like to ask this one. What do you consider your most challenging task overall of your career?
It depends. If we're talking about the technical challenging task for me, that was the migration task from my first project when I worked as a junior software engineer. It was really complicated for me, and I struggled maybe several weeks for doing that. Of course, I used some help from my team lead, from senior developers as well, and together we did it. I was performing the complex migration from the old version of Node to the new one, but it involves actually a lot of breaking changes and a lot of application code was rewritten. But if we are talking about like my challenging soft skills problem, that was my estimation mistake. So it happened maybe a month ago, not a month ago, maybe 4 months ago. It gave me the task, and the customer asked like, how many weeks or how many months you will do this task, and I will say like, I'll do that in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks will be enough. Yeah, that's good. And the customer say, yeah, that's great. So let's get started. And after 1 week have passed, I see that there are a lot of work, and I won't do that in 1 week. Maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks, and that was a really complex challenge for me to do everything right. And of course, I did that more than in 2 weeks. So that was one of my mistakes and one of my challenges. So right now, if I'm talking about estimations, I'm trying to, overestimate something. So if customer will ask me like how many days you will do this task, I will say 5, but I know that I'm doing for 3.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's a really great lesson you learned. I mean, in terms of that, yeah, we shouldn't underestimate because customers can stick to that value and then use it as use it against us. So we must be prepared. And overall estimation is, of course, a really big topic. Okay, thank you for this answer. Let's start with our program with my main questions. And the first one is typical one, but still very important. Can you tell us about event loop in JavaScript, how it works, and what data structures are present there?
Yes, sure. So when we are talking about the event loop, it's actually the thing. It's actually just an endless loop where the JavaScript waits for the tasks, execute them, and then sleeps, waiting for the more tasks. So as we know, JavaScript is a one single-threaded programming language, and it can be a problem to work with asynchronous code. So that's why the event loop concept was introduced. So the general algorithm of the engine is like very simple. So while there are tasks, we will execute them, and then the event loop will just sleep until the task appears. But one more thing, it's just several queues. The event loop have macro task queue and micro task queue. Micro task queue, it's actually like some tasks, some things that we do from the code, and the micro tasks are the queue consist of some promises, some set timeout operation. Was one major moment here. The queue of the micro tasks must be finished before we will do the next micro tasks.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And with regard to this microtask queue, you mentioned promises are there, but what if we have the example if there is a promise and there is a then callback there, and it creates a new promise. So what will be executed first? The next promise or the first thing in the macro task queue?
So if I understand you correctly, we have the promise was then, right? And after that, we have another promise, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, the all micro tasks queue must be finished before we will go to the next macro task. So this then will be executed only after completing the previous one.
Okay. Okay, that's good with event loop. Let's proceed to our next question. Actually, let's talk about React. And can you tell us about React and why it's really popular nowadays? And assuming your experience with Angular, maybe you can compare those two and explain why still React is better and in what things you think Angular is better. So
Okay, thank you for the question. So React library is just a library. It will extend the JavaScript functionality with introducing GSX syntax. So we can write JavaScript code. Inside the JavaScript code, we can write almost HTML code right in our components, and that's elegant and easy solution. React is a lightweight library and it is easy to use. And Angular is more complex solution. Angular is a framework and it introduces model view controller model. So that's why Angular can be a bit more complex than React. And I think that React is so popular nowadays because, like I said, it is very it is easy solution that can be scalable and reusable, while Angular can have some learning curve problems.
and with regard to Angular, in Angular we use TypeScript and it's built in. Can we do the same with React applications?
Yes, we can work with TypeScript in React applications as well. It is not built in like in Angular. In Angular, we can just write with TypeScript, but in React, we need to turn on this functionality to work with TypeScript language. The default option will be JavaScript.
And while we at this TypeScript topic, can you just highlight the benefits of using it? Maybe we don't even need this TypeScript. Do you know what was the solution to type React applications before TypeScript?
Before TypeScript, as far as I remember, there was something like JavaScript, GGS. I'm not sure. I don't remember that actually. But the TypeScript is like the enhanced version of JavaScript. It introduces types, and it is very convenient to work with types actually, because we have less chances to got a mistake or something. Also, we can work with some unions, we can work with interfaces, we can work with a lot of functionality that just does not exist in JavaScript but exist in classic programming languages like Java or .NET. That's why TypeScript it can
Mhm.
be
I,
really. Mhm.
I meant prop types in React. This using it, we were able to add typings to the props. But do you think it's not enough for React applications, and we still need TypeScript?
That actually depends. The prop types can help us to work with types, definitely, but there are lots of more functionality. For example, we can use intersections and union types, and as far as I know, in prop types we cannot do that. Also, there are like static typing. We can use like classic classes. We can use classic inheritance, and I think that it have just like more advantages than just prop types in JavaScript. Of course, it depends. Maybe someone will choose prop types instead of the TypeScript, but my solution will be using TypeScript.
Yeah, sounds good. I agree with you on that. Okay, with regard to React questions, let's proceed with the next topic. Just do you know the concept of virtual DOM and what benefit it gives for React apps?
Um, Yes. So, as far as we know, the common web application uses just a DOM. DOM is like document object model that consists of several elements on the page, and it can be hard to update this DOM when we're working on the website. It can slow the performance. It can be really a complex operation. That's why React introduces virtual DOM. So it's just a lightweight copy of the real DOM, And when React want to update something, it just monitor what was changed. It changed them like a batches in virtual DOM, and then creates an operation to update the real DOM. But that's how it was before. Right now, React uses fibers, so it just works with diff algorithm. It always monitors what was changed and creates a queue of operations, and after that it run this queue to update that was changed.
Okay, good. Yeah, nice that you mentioned fiber. Yeah, it's current mechanism of doing so. Not many candidates know that. Okay, let's proceed with the next question. Still about React. Can you tell us what hooks do you use? Do you know? Do you use the most?
Yes, so the hook is like a function that can be used when we want to create a side effect or we want to memorize something. There are a lot of hooks that we can use callback, use memo, use the effect, of course, use layout effect. For the most of the time, I use effect or use callback hooks. The use effect is a hook that can perform some side effects. For example, when something was changed or when the component was rendered, I can use the use effect hook to do something like from the side, and use callback can memorize the function for me. So if the function wasn't changed, the React will not recalculate it. So I will be able to use it, and it will decrease the performance wide to the application.
Got it. It's typical task in front-end application to add some event listeners and then remove them. How would you do this with the help of use effect hook?
So, for example, when we want to use this event listener, we can use effect hook to create it, right? And when something was changed, when we know that we don't need this event listener, we can use the use effect to unsubscribe from the event listener. So we will not have any performance issues, and we will sure that we unsubscribe from the event listener like exactly the time when we need it.
Can you mentioned that you used use callback. Why do we need even this hook? For what needs do you use it?
So actually, React can memorize something, and it's important when we are working on complex solutions like complex web applications, because the memory is not unlimited, and we need to work with it somehow. So when we have some complex operations, we should think about memorizing the result, because when we, for example, update the page, if the component, for example, would be rendered, if something was changed, then this complex operation can be recalculated. As it's not the best way to work with web applications, because it can lead to performance bottlenecks. So for that, we can memorize some results of complex operations. We can ensure that if none of the parameters was changed, for example, then we can just reuse the previous result. So for that, we can use memo hook or use callback hook. The difference is that use memo can memorize the value, for example, and use callback can memorize the whole function when we want to use it.
Got it. Yeah, definitely. Can you tell us about ways to manage state in React applications? How can you do it? Maybe you have multiple approaches of doing that.
Yes, sure. So when we want to manage states in React application, we can start using use state hook. So it actually creates an object with two parameters. The first one is just the state, and the second one is a function to set the state. And we can use this state anywhere in the component. And when we change the state, then the component can be re-rendered. Also, it can be a problem because sometimes we need to have like a lot of information in the state. So for that, we can use either the objects. We can just use, for example, an object for the state, or we can use some state management solutions like Redux or Mobix, or also React can offer built-in solution for that, context. So we can store information using context.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, let's proceed with our next topics outside React, and let's talk about general concept of clean code. What is, in your opinion, clean code? High quality code, you name it.
For me, clean code is a code that it is easy to maintain, that is easy to read, easy to understand, and of course, it is easy to change and it's easy to expand if we need it. So, for example, if we even don't need to write a command for this code, and the code is great and the code is clean. Of course, it was just an example, but when we see the code and we can clearly understand it, clearly read it, and if you already know how to change it, that's a clean code.
And what principles do you know that can help us with this?
So in my mind, I remember several of them. For example, dry. It means don't repeat yourself principle. So you can just, it says what it says, right? You just don't have to repeat by yourself. You don't have to recreate something. If you create it once, you can reuse it. The second one is KISS. It was created in U.S. Army like 15 years ago or something, and it stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. So we don't have to over-engineer something. It is enough just to create something and to expand it. We don't need to over-engineer or over-complicate something. Also, I remember solid principles. I am not sure
But
whether I
let's
will.
not take. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's not dig into it. It's great that you know it. So great, great answer. And just to finish here, I just wanted to ask you about different categories of software design patterns, and overall, why do we need these patterns? What can they help us with?
So there are several types of patterns. We have creational patterns, we have structural patterns, and behavioral patterns. And for example, creational patterns designed for provide various object creation mechanism where we can increase the reuse of the existing code. For example, builder or factory or singleton. The structural design patterns explain how to like assemble objects into more larger structures. For example, adapter or composite. And behavioral patterns are like concerned with algorithms, and it assigns like the responsibilities between objects. For example, iterator or just state. That's examples of behavioral design patterns.
Yeah, got it. But can you tell us, yeah, why do we need these patterns? And we can write code on our own. Maybe you can explain.
Yeah, Yeah, so the design patterns are typical solutions to commonly occurring problem. For example, when we occur to the problem, I think that 99% that we are not first who occurred the problem. And before that, someone created the best solution for that, and we can just reuse it. So it's like analogy to a cooking recipe, for example. For if you want to create a pie, I think you wouldn't create a pie just from the thing that you had. I think you will just look on the internet to find the recipe of the pie and will recreate it. So the same here. If you encounter the problem, you can just use pattern to have the best solution for that.
Nice analogy, yeah, with recipe. We will use it in future interviews. Okay, let's proceed with next question. And it's gonna be a question about server-side rendering. As you see right now with React, there are popular now frameworks like Next.js, like Gatsby, and I just wanted to ask you about why internet web development is moving towards these frameworks more rather than using these traditional single page applications.
Okay, so let me explain what is server-side rendering first of all. So that's a mechanism that allows us to get the site content that was rendered on the web server rather than a browser. So the server will prepare an HTML document and will just send me the file, and that's all. So why actually that's important? First of all, that's important because a lot of people now using mobiles phones, maybe everyone using now the mobile phones, mobile applications, and the performance of these mobile applications is of course less than performance of the regular web browser. So it can be great if our mobile phones will not render everything complex that the computer must do, and it will just get the whole information from the web server. And of course it can be like it would be faster. It would be ideal for some static website, for example, because if you will render the page, it won't be like render it again and again. It will just get the whole HTML from the server, and that's all. That would be enough. So that's why I think that's a great solution. Also, if we're talking about SEO optimizations, it will be more SEO optimized because it is already on the web server.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's go with our next question. It's gonna be about performance. So imagine you have the application that runs slowly for whatever reason. What would be your steps to identify what can be wrong?
So first of all, I will try to see some metrics to see what exactly can be wrong. For example, maybe it's response time, maybe it's just slow, or it can be, or maybe it will like use a lot of system resources. So I will see some metrics. There are a lot of metrics that can be used here, like error rates, for example. Then I will perform a load testing. There are a lot of applications that can help me. For example, the Lighthouse, or I don't remember how it's called, like something with Google, the Google instrument as well. We can use it. So we can test our application according to the Lighthouse, for example, to see what can be wrong. Maybe there is a function that recalculates every time, and that's why my application is slow. Or I remember from my practice, I encountered a situation when my really complex function was re-rendered each time. I just forgot to use callback. I just forgot to use it, and it was re-rendered like one temp per second, and my application was really slow. So it can be a problem as well. So I will conduct some stress testing, scalability testing. I will see what exactly can be wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And a nice example of use callback because um, sometimes we see that we even like React recommends us, we can omit using these callbacks. If application like works okay, like don't preliminary optimize things. Yeah, and in your case, it's definitely the case that you needed it. Okay, let's proceed with the next question. Yeah, with regard to performance, by the way, what ways overall do you know, just from top of your head, for optimizations of React applications, that common practices that we can use both on the front end and the back end, that you can name?
To optimize React application, right? First of all, we should avoid re-renders. So we should avoid re-renders as many as we can, because re-renders without reason are bad re-renders. So we need to see that we memorize the complex functions. We need to make sure that everything is works purely, like without unexpected side effects. That's the thing just got top from the top of my head.
Okay, good. Let's proceed with next question. And yeah, about code review process. How would you organize it?
Okay, so the code review process is a process when someone reviewing the code of the another, and it's actually a risky thing because there can be a conflict. For example, someone can say my code is right and your code is not, and we need to make sure that the whole uh, the whole process is ready and the whole process is healthy. So for doing that, I will introduce some discussions. For example, if someone will create a pull request, we can discuss what was changed. We can use I can introduce even pair checking of this pull request, because when just one person will read this code, and if one person will be responsible for merging, I think that can lead to conflicts. So for that purposes, uh, for example, I can introduce these discussions, so a whole team can check this pull request, write some comments, and then according to the comments, this person that created a pull request will either fix them or either merge it.
Okay, got it. Nice technique. And overall, during the code review, what things do you usually check? What is best practice for you? Because you can see it's a lot of lines of code, and but we still need to understand how to make it better. What would you check?
So it depends. It depends from like time to time, but I think that it would be great if you have like a checklist. If you have a checklist, what must be checked? First of all, you check in whether the code works. Then you check some edge cases. Then you check some syntax yes lint features. Then you check the optimization, the performance, and if something is works properly, then it's right. So if is the code clean for you, then that's great, and you can approve it. But like I said, that's work from the most of the cases, because there are examples. First, for example, when a customer really need the functionality, and it must be just delivered right away. And for that purposes, I can approve pull requests even if it's not like the best code. But then I will create some technical debt items, and I will return to them as fast as possible.
Yeah, definitely. We don't need to forget about this additional follow-up tech debt stories. Yeah, and this is nice technique. Yeah, in this case, you mentioned like LinkedIn. How can it help us, in our day-to-day life? And also, do you think it's similar to testing to testing concept, LinkedIn versus testing? Yeah.
That's actually different things. Linter is a thing that can check just your syntax rules. For example, if you can set your linter for you, and for example, your code for you will be right, but for the another person, this linter will give an error. So the linter just follows some code standards, and that's all. It will show you some potential problems, of course, but it cannot replace testing, of course. If we're talking about testing, you must write unit tests for your functions. For example, if you created a function, first of all, you should check your function function using linter just to see that it was written properly according to the code standard that you use on a project. And after that, if you made sure that everything is fine by like the syntax, you must check this logic of the function, because the code might be fine, but the function can return you a wrong value just because the logic is incorrect. And after that, you can use unit test to make sure that everything works properly.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, do you have an experience of writing unit tests for React applications?
Yes, for the most of the time, I used Jest for writing a unit test.
And what code coverage do you have on your project?
So on my project, we have more than 70% of coverage. I think it is good. It is not best coverage that we can have, but we don't need to have 100% of coverage. But I think that's a good number for us. And usually, I think if you have more than 70% of coverage, then that is already good.
And I just want to understand if customer have a notion about this code coverage thing, and pay attention to it.
Yes, the customer knows about this number, and we are going to increase the coverage after we will write more functionality, of course.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to understand if you know about Sonar Cube and what benefits it also may bring to us during CI/CD process here.
Yes, so the Sonar Cube, it's like the platform that can analyze the quality of the code. So it's not like the testing. You can just use the Sonar Cube to see where you have potential code smells or potential performance problem that can be fixed in a moment. So that's why it's a great way to use Sonar Cube. So it can be integrated with CI/CD process, like you said. When we push the code to the GitHub, for example, the Sonar can just monitor this code to see the performance or code smells, and then it will say to you what can be fixed.
Okay, I think we are done with technical questions, and now I just have a couple soft skill questions, but still important questions, and I just want to discuss them with you as well. Imagine you acting as a front-end lead or team lead in your team, and you have now responsibilities to delegate tasks. How would you choose the person for the task and the task that you want to delegate to this person?
We are talking about delegation, right? Not the assignment. Because delegation is the process when we also delegate the responsibility for this task. So, for example, if I need to pick a good person for the task, like the right person, because the main difference between delegation and in assignments is about responsibility. An assignment, it's like, so here is a task, here is the conditions, so you must do this task like in 2 days. So that's an assignment. But the delegation is, so I want to have them this and this, and you will have unlimited time. I I trust you, so please help me do that. You can do this part of my tasks. I can delegate it to you. So that's a delegation. And if we're talking about, for example, the React applications, if we're talking about programming here, we can delegate some big spheres of something. For example, the person can work with its own tasks. The person can work with its own like functionality, and we don't even need to track them or assign them. I think that's delegation.
Okay. And what would be your steps in order to introduce the task to the person, and overall just to track the progress, that to make sure that the task that you delegated is done correctly?
I can have some meetings with this person. I can just talk with this person to see that everything goes fine. But it won't be like a boss and employee relationships. It would be like just employee with employee relationships. So we will have the common rights, and we can just talk about the tasks to see that everything works properly.
And what would you not delegate? What task would you leave for yourself?
That actually depends from the project, right? Because I think that most of the tasks can be delegated. And I think that I won't delegate some tasks that are connected like exactly with my part of the work, exactly with something that customer asks me to do or was delegated to me. Then I will do that by myself.
Okay, let's proceed with the next question about onboarding. Imagine you again ask as a front-end lead and you have a new member in your team. How would you organize the onboarding for this person?
So first of all, I will meet the team. So I will introduce the team, and I will make sure that this person feel comfortable, because it is always not just about technical things. We must remember that it is always uncomfortable to meet a lot of new people and a lot of new solutions. That can be hard. And first of all, I will make sure that this person feel properly. So I will introduce the team. I will introduce some ceremonies. I will introduce the process, like how we work. And after that, I will introduce what we do. I will introduce the solutions that we use. I will introduce the things that we do, and it can be not like be just one-to-one meeting. It can be meetings with the whole team, just to make sure that the person understands that everything that goes here is well designed and mental and mental safe.
Definitely. And what would you choose as a first task for this person?
So as a first task for this person, I will choose something easy, and not just I don't trust this person, or I don't know the skills of that person. I will choose something easy just to warm up this person. So this person will see how everything works, and just inside his head. Inside his head, this person will know how they can work here. So it will be an easy task. For example, fix some styles or fix any bug or something. But like I said, it will be only the first task, or maybe the second one, because after that, of course, we need to enroll this person to the core functionality.
Let's proceed with the next question about motivation. Um, so, what approaches would you use in order to motivate your team? Just to track that they are still have motivation to work on this project, because we know the common problem of developers in IT that developers tend to burn out. Yeah, and it's also one of the responsibilities of front end leads, team leads, in order to make sure the team is not in that state.
Yeah, that actually can be a real problem, because I have encountered burnout condition by myself. Now everything is fine, and as a team leader, of course, I will try to do all everything that I can to prevent this burnout for my employees. So the first one is to work properly according to the sprints and according to the Scrum metrics. I mean, that means that we don't have to do more than we expect. If we talk with a customer that this amount of the task will be enough, then it would be enough. Of course, there are some exceptions. For example, the release is burning or something was broken. Of course, yeah, that happens. But for the most part of our work, I will do my best. So my employees will work only the time they need to work, and that's all. So after 6 o'clock, it's their time. They must rest, and that's all. after that, I will introduce team buildings. There are a lot of places where we can go as a team. We can grab some pizza. We can drink some. I don't know, we can just drink something. And it would be a great solution for everyone just to know each other more closely and to trust each other more closely. I think it is very important as a part of the job as well. And the third things, I will not limit my employees to work on something. For example, if the person wants to work with AWS cloud, I will say, yeah, that's great. So let's see what you know about AWS, and we can select a proper task for you. Because if a person wants to work with clouds and it is not allowed to work with clouds in a project, that can decrease the motivation of this person. So I won't limit my employees on that.
Definitely, and really nice, idea with team buildings. Yeah, we work not only with we want to know not only how good our team in terms of development, but we want to know the people. So it's important. Okay, Alexei, thank you for your questions with regard to technical and soft skills. I think I'm done with the questions, and now we have the last piece, the practical task. And let's proceed with this. For this task, we need online editor, consent box. Can you please open it?
Yes, it is right here.
Okay, great. And the task, I'm just gonna read it to you. Yeah, so your task is to figure out if a sentence is a pangram. And pangram, you can understand it as that it's going to use every letter of the alphabet at least once. It should be case insensitive. And for this for this particular task, you need to use the sentence that contains at all 26 letters of English alphabet once. So
Okay, so as far as I understood, I will write a function that will check whether a sentence is a pangram, and a sentence is a pangram if it consists with every single alphabet letters, English alphabet, right? So it must consist of each letter in the alphabet at least once, right?
yeah, and yeah, just an additional ask for you during the implementation. Please explain us step by step what you are doing. What are your thoughts? So it will
Uh,
be.
Yes, sure. So I will create a function here that will check whether a sentence is a pangram. I will create a string with the alphabet, and then I will create a set collection. So I will check whether letter is included in the string of the alphabet, and if it does, then I will add this to the set. So that's if I will use this way, I will not count like special characters, numbers, all of that. I will count only letters in lowercase. And set is a collection that consists of unique elements. That's why in the end, the size of the set must be equals to 26. And if it does, then it is pangram. And if it's not, then it is not a pangram.
Sounds good. Just make sure to use the string that I sent you in the chat as a input to your function.
Okay, let me get started here. So here is the test string. I will name it like input one, or just input. Yeah, just input. All right, so for now, I will create a string that consists of alphabet. So I will create the string alphabet equals, and it will be just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Yeah, seems to be right. And now I will create the function that will check whether the sentence is a pangram. So is pangram. I will receive an input as a string. And here I will check whether it's a pangram. So first of all, I will create a set. So const, I will name it like unique letters will be equals to the new set. So I created a set here, and now I will have a loop that will go through the whole inputs. For example, I can use for each loop, for example, but no, that's a string. I will use just a usual for loop here. So for let I will be equals to 0, while I is less than the length of this string, I plus plus. I will check whether a letter is inside the alphabet. So input I, no, vice versa, alphabet includes input I. If, of course, if alphabet includes input I, if includes input I dot lowercase, of course, because we must think about case insanity, so two lowercase. So if includes, then we can add it to the set. So it would be unique letters dot add input I dot lowercase. As I used to lowercase twice, I can create just a new variable here. For example, const letter would be input I to lowercase. So I will save it in a separate variable, and then I will check it here on the line 13 and here on the line 14 as well. So before I will return something, I will just write the set to the console to see what is inside. So I will write console log unique letters. And now let me call this function is pangram, and input would be as here. So we can see that we have 25 letters here. Not 20, 26, yes, because we will start from 0, obviously. So it seems to be that it works. So let me do, instead of console log, I will return if unique letters size would be equals to 26, because 26, that's the length of the whole alphabet. And here I will try it with my input string. So if is pangram, I will provide this input as a test. So it must give me the true, and it does. We have true, and now let me recheck it with wrong input. For example, is pangram, and I will provide something like this. For example, this is not a pangram, and it must give me false, and it does.
Good.
So how it is? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I just want to say that, Alexei, I see that the argument name is the same as your input variable on line 3, which might lead to potential errors. How can you solve this? And what type of error do you think it might be?
Oh, I see. I see. I'm using the parameter name the same as the test name here, and that's why even if I will rename it to the just sentence, for example, it still work because now I'm using the outer input from here. That's I see the error now. So for that, I can use var variable, for example, or I can just rename my parameter to sentence, like I put here, I think the best approach will be just to use another name so we can avoid these shadow namings.
Yeah,
So the
good.
dances will be here. And now we have the same functionality, but we won't have any problems with it here.
Okay, Alexei, imagine that your solution works. Okay, I see that you already like provided us the proof, but imagine that your input is contains like million of characters, but the first 26 of these characters are at the beginning. So can you improve the algorithm so we won't process the whole string, but we only process this, this first 26 or whatever like characters, in order to understand that we already like have the solution.
Yeah, I think I got you. So, you're talking about the case when we have like more than 1,000 letters in the test string, but the first 26 would be the alphabet or the first 100, and we just don't need to proceed with others.
Yeah.
So, for that case, I can just test it inside a loop. I can write a condition that, for example, if unique letter size would be already 26, I can just return true, and that's all.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Yeah, that's right. But do you think it's better to do it at the end of the current iteration or at the beginning?
I think that would be actually, yeah. Let me copy that. Uh, I think that we should do this check after the end of the thing, because obviously, in the beginning of this for loop, we will definitely need to first of all add it and then check, because it would be the like sorry. There would be like one more operation that is not necessary.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I think we are done with the coding task and with the whole interview. Thank you, Alexei, for your answers.
Thank you, Victor, for your questions. That was great.
So there we have it. Thanks very much to both Victor and Alexei for what was an incredibly engaging interview. I hope you found it as interesting and useful as I did listening in there. What's great now is we're now going to take about 2 to 3 minutes with both our interviewer and our interviewee to get a little bit of feedback on how that process went, understand perhaps some of the areas that were challenging, and also get a general feel for how the flow of the interview went. So first, let's speak to our interviewee, Alexei, and get a little bit more detail on that session. Alexei, so how did you think that went? What was your general feeling of the overall process?
Thank you, Chris, for the question. So the whole interview was very light and easy to follow. I wasn't even nervous. I was nervous just a little bit in the beginning, but after the first question was asked, I was like, "Oh yeah, everything is fine. Everything is great. Do not be nervous." So everything was really great. I liked it a lot, and thank you so much for this interview. Thank you.
Amazing, yeah. And I think it's normal for most people to get nervous during an interview. But I can tell, certainly having listened in, that it was a perfectly streamlined, good responses to all the questions. Was there anything at all that maybe caught you off guard or a challenge, or you were genuinely kind of on point with how you were responding?
Actually, I wasn't expect some unexpected questions here. So everything was even not like very easy, but everything was easy to answer. I was prepared for that, and that's why the whole flow was great for me as well.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this. And a little insider information for our listeners. Although I mentioned at the beginning that this was a 5+ years experience role, Alexei is just coming up to that 5 years, so about 4 years. And I know that all of us listening, and myself included, are very impressed in your responses. So if that isn't motivating for perhaps some of our Anywhere Club listeners, I'm not too sure what it is. But thank you so much for your kind of elegant, succinct responses to those questions. It was really appreciated.
Thank you.
No problem. And now we move over to Viktor, our interviewer, to tell us a little bit more. So Viktor, it'd be great to get your overall impressions of the interview, and then I'll ask you a few more kind of deep dive questions.
Yeah, definitely. I think the interview went very smoothly. So it's really obvious that Aliaksei was great prepared. And each questions that I asked, he answered really sharp. So it's really nice to conduct sessions for such prepared candidates, because it can be otherwise. And usually, like Aliaksei mentioned, I try to start with some warm questions just to make sure candidate is feeling comfortable, and then proceed straight to the agenda with all the questions that I prepared. So overall, I think everything went really great.
Amazing. And I think I agree with you. Was there anything in there that really impressed you throughout the whole interview? Something that really jumped out and you thought, wow, that was a great response?
About React, like I said, it was that Aliaksei mentioned fiber architecture. It's really advanced topic, and I think it's great that Aliaksei knows about it, about knowledge about hooks and about clean code, and his vision about how to organize code review process. It's a really important topic. And overall, we really liked his questions about soft skills topics, specifically about motivation. It's really important ones. And I really liked that Aliaksei talked from his experience during the questions. So I value this during the interviews that I conduct myself. And I, as an interviewer, also like to talk from my experience. I think this is most valuable thing on any interview.
Definitely. And it wouldn't be an interview without me asking for perhaps one development point or something that perhaps you'd like to have heard a little bit more about. Was there anything at all in the interview that you thought Aliaksei could perhaps angle a little bit differently, or perhaps give a little bit more detail on, perhaps as a development area?
Yeah, maybe it would be great to hear more about server-side technique, about these frameworks like Next.js. That it's not only about server-side rendering, but actually it's about that these frameworks contains a lot of solutions, like Aliaksei mentioned about Angular. It's a really complex solution that already has a lot of built-in features that can benefit, a project can benefit from. And it's currently really important vector for front-end applications. But overall, the answer was good enough. But this is just recommendation which I would recommend Aliaksei to look into.
Absolutely. Well, thank you also to yourself, Viktor, for your expert interviewing skills there. It's been a real privilege to have you join us as part of this interview series.
Happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and it was really great.
No problem. So there we have it. Another Interview Anywhere Club series completed. It's been a real privilege to have you join us. Now, what would be my top tip to take away from this? I think we heard from our interviewee around unexpected questions, and I'm sure you realized as well that Aliaksei wasn't tripped up on that. But I think always going to an interview expecting the worst necessarily is not my advice, but expecting the unexpected. And I think sometimes some questions can trip you up. Our interviewee demonstrated perfectly this is not about perhaps trying to bend the truth or try and get away with something that you don't necessarily know. Instead, just give an honest response to those questions. If something isn't for you, or perhaps you have an area that you're challenged upon, then just call that out. And I think between the two of you, you can have a conversation and really get to the crux of what you're trying to discuss. So that's my tip for today. In my final few words, I would say, of course, if you haven't engaged with the Anywhere Club online, then please do check us out on our social media platforms and engage with us on Discord, our very active online community. As a reminder, the Anywhere Club is a global community for IT professionals to learn new languages, help with relocation, and of course, develop their IT skills, programming languages, and other competencies with like-minded individuals from all over the world. If you've liked what you've watched today, then be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you very, very soon for the next video in our Anywhere Club interview series. I've been Chris Howard. It's been a real privilege to have you join us, and I will see you very, very soon.